On behalf of the Cabangan family and the ALC Media Group, we give thanks to the Lord for allowing us to continue the story started 30 years ago by my father, the late Ambassador and Chairman Emeritus of the ALC Group of Companies, Antonio L. Cabangon Chua. It is the story of how a small magazine got built on the strength of an incomparable friendship between a man of business and a man of words. This is the story of how they both cherished literature and vowed to nurture excellent literary works in the pages of the magazine. Through the best of times and the worst of times, we continue this story. This is the story of the Philippines Graphic.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Last March 18, World Sleep Day was observed with the theme Quality Sleep, Sound Mind, Happy World. Sleep is a foundational pillar of health, and the quality for sleep impact not just your physical energy in the morning, but your mental and emotional health as well. A survey conducted by Sleep Cycle, a popular sleep tracking application in 2019, said the Philippines ranked as the fourth most sleepless country in the world. Filipinos average from 6 hours and 30 minutes to 6 hours and 45 minutes of sleep every day. This is much less than the recommended 7 to 9 hours of sleep recommended by the American National Sleep Foundation for adults. Have the sleeping patterns of Filipinos improved? What is coronasomnia or COVID-somnia? Before I introduce our guest this morning, we will be having a raffle. We'll be raffling off special prizes. I'll let you know later what they are. But all you have to do is to answer this question. When was World Sleep Day observed? Again, when was World Sleep Day observed? Okay? Type your answer in the comment sections with a hashtag BM Coffee Club, hashtag the gift of sleep, and hashtag sleep. Sleep well. Yeah. Okay, we will be collecting the names until the end of the program, so stay tuned. Okay, our guest today is what we call a sleep specialist, a doctor of medicine, graduate of the University of Santo Tomas. Our guest had her residency training in internal medicine at the National Kidney and Transplant Institute. She had her fellowship training in adult pulmonology and critical care medicine, as well as sleep medicine at the Philippine Heart Center. She was also an honorary clinical associate in sleep medicine at the University of Hong Kong, Queen Mary Hospital in Hong Kong. Here is Dr. Teresita Celestina Santiago Fuentes, the section head of the Sleep Laboratory of Cardinal Santos Medical Center. Good morning, Doctora.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Hope
Hey.
everybody had a good sleep. And if not, they had better tune in.
Yes, that's right. Okay, Doctora, before we start, can you tell me something about yourself and why you decided to go into this specialty?
First and foremost, I'm an internist, pulmonologist, and a sleep specialist. I have two kids. I'm married to a surgeon. I have three dogs, one Labrador and two beagles. Why sleep medicine? When I was in training about maybe more than 10 years ago, sleep was in its infancy stage. Imagine there were about 20 to 25 sleep specialists catering to more than what millions of Filipinos around the world, and most of these sleep specialists were centered in NCR. So when I was
Okay.
in training, I saw a cardiac patient, relatively young, obese. I saw him in the ICU. He was snoring wildly, no? Narinig mo sa kabilang cubicle. And the
Mhm.
heart rate was going wild. So turned out after such evaluation, he turned out to have a sleeping disorder, which is obstructive sleep apnea. So that to me was very interesting.
Oh, okay. Doctor, I understand you prepared a presentation for us. Can you do it
Yes,
now?
yes. Actually,
Okay.
I prepared this for World Sleep Day, but it got canceled. So there you go. So can I start now?
Yes, go ahead, Doctora.
So good morning again. So if you haven't you've had worse sleep the past few nights, the past few weeks, the past 2 years, so you better listen to my lecture. No? Next slide. So before anything else, why do we even sleep? Sleep is natural state of the bodily rest in humans and observed in animals. It's different from quiet wakefulness because we have a decreased ability to react to stimuli, and it's more reversible than coma. All animals sleep, no? Even birds, amphibians, and fish. And sleep is essential for survival. And I will describe this later on in a groundbreaking work during the late 1980s why sleep is essential. Next slide. Wait. So when we ask the question inside in the scientific word, we usually turn to the lab rat, no? The trusty old lab rat. Can you hold on a sec? I think there's something wrong with my.
Ah,
Okay. Okay. How important it is really to have a good sleep to health and life. There goes the trusty lab rat, which we always turn to. Next slide, please. So, the critical importance of sleep was made evident by the experiments used in rats last 1980s. No? What they did in these experiments, they totally sleep deprived these poor rats and they all died within 2 weeks. No? With progressive sleep deprivation, the rats became hypermetabolic. They lost weight despite increasing food intake. They developed conditions and erosions of the gastrointestinal tract, with hypothermia developing just prior to death. So it's interesting, no? Subsequent studies documented that these rats actually died of sepsis. No? Sepsis is just a severe infection, suggesting that sleep deprivation may impair the ability of the body's immune system to deal with infection. Next slide, please. So, what's the function of sleep? It's primarily restorative. It's essentially required for cell repair during sleep. There's protein synthesis, which is enhanced, which leads to cellular repair. So, tama yung sinasabi ng nanay natin before that we have to go to sleep, no? Nung bata tayo para lumaki.
yeah.
Because when you go to sleep, growth hormone is secreted in high quantities, especially in the deep sleep, and again important for cellular repair and growth, and it delays aging. No? When you're sleep deprived, you secrete a lot of cortisol in your body. So this cortisol would degrade your collagen, kaya ka mukhang tumatanda. So it when you have proper sleep, it delays aging. So if you don't want to grow old faster, you have to go to sleep. No, and of course, one of the other functions of sleep is energy conservation. No? It's to allocate limited resources when we need them, actually. That's when we're awake, when feeding occurs, when there's active cognitive skills required. And then there's immune function regulation. No? People who don't sleep enough tend to have more sick days. They tend to have more infection. Di nyo napapansin na pagka puyat kayo for several weeks, after a few days, nagkakasipon, nagkakaubo. And we think of sleep as an enhancer to our immunity. Somehow, during sleep, our immune system reboots. Next slide, please. Okay. Ontogenic hypothesis just refers to importance of sleep, especially in the infants. Nakikita nyo, laging ang mga infants, they're always in active sleep, laging tulog, no? For most, 80% of the time. And in adults, this is the active sleep in infants is the rapid eye movement in adults. And this one helps in brain maturation. For memory consolidation, every day, no, we are exposed to a lot of information coming our way. No? The vast majority are actually noise. So we have to sort out what's important. What do we want to keep in terms of short storage or long storage? What will help us survive? And there's good evidence among college students who are sleep deprived. They were asked to do memory functions, and they after that sleep deprivation, they performed awful. So we think sleep has a lot to do with memory consolidation. Next slide, please. So how much sleep do humans need? So this is one of the questions frequently asked, no? So for newborns, they spend a lot of time, 14 to 17 hours of sleep. And you can see here in a young adult, they still need 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Now, if you survey all of your teenagers who are sleep deprived because of these social media, they have their Instagram account, their chat groups, no? Most of them are sleep deprived, no? It's not even the teenagers, even adults too. If you survey workers, no, probably 60% of them won't even reach the 7 to 9 hours that is recommended by the National Sleep Foundation. Next slide, please. So, are you sleep deprived? No? Now, the term sleep deprivation refers to getting less than the needed amount of sleep, which is, I've said earlier, it's about 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Now, in sleep medicine, sleep deprivation is based on the duration, which is the total amount of time that the person spends asleep. In reality, though, it's more than that. It's not more about how many hours of sleep. No, as a result, in sleep medicine, we'd like to term it as sleep insufficiency. No, this is more frequently used to describe factors that reduce either the quality or the quantity of sleep and keep a person from waking up feeling refreshed. So if you ask me, what's more important? Is it the quality or the quantity? I would say both. No, sleep insufficiency has a broader application in this instance. No, for example, a person who sleeps for more than a total of 8 hours, no? But so many awakenings that fragment their sleep, they may have insufficient sleep, even though their duration technically meets the recommended amount. So especially in patients na madaming issues, no? Let's say, 65-year-old male na merong prostate problem, ihi ng ihi sa gabi. Technically, he would have slept for 8-9 hours of sleep, pero nagigising siya 4 to 5 times a night, then the sleep is definitely not consolidated. So he wakes up feeling unrefreshed. No, the next slide, please. No, so what are the primary signs and symptoms of sleep deprivation? It includes excessive daytime somnolence. No, excessive daytime sleepiness, yung antukin during sedentary activities, nanonood ng TV, nakakatulog, no, nag-attend ng meeting, nakakatulog, nasa kotse pa lang, no, 5 minutes later tulog na, no, nasa deep sleep na, no, nasa and then you have daytime impairments such as reduced concentration, they have slower thinking, parang actually, pardon the word, parang lutang, no? So slower thinking and mood changes, no? They feel extremely tired during the day. That's one of the hallmarks of sleep deprivation. So people with excessive daytime sleepiness may feel drowsy and have a hard time staying awake even when they need to. Like in the meetings, no? Nakakatulog sila. Now, in some cases, this results in microsleeps, no? Microsleeps in which a person dozes off for a matter of seconds. Next slide. No, that the consequences of sleep deprivation can be disastrous. No, it raises the risk of unintentional errors and accidents. It's related with operator fatigue. It has been implicated in numerous public disasters such as the grounding of the Exxon Valdez and the nuclear meltdown at the 3 Mile Island. Pero wag na tayong lumayo pa, no? Next slide, please. Drowsy driving, which involves a slowed reaction time and the risk of microsleeps can be life-threatening. This is actually a picture of one of our residents and our fellow in training. This is a picture after a terrible vehicular accident where he fell asleep while driving after his 24-hour duty. No, on a society-wide scale, the impact of sleep deprivation are enormous. No? CDC estimates that as many as 6,000 deaths each year caused by drowsy driving. And it's an added healthcare cost, whether you like it or not. No? Next slide, please. While short-term impacts are more noticeable kasi inaantok the next day, chronic sleep deprivation can heighten the long-term risk of physical and mental health problems because sleep plays a fundamental role actually in effective functioning. It's related to cardiovascular disease. Some have found strong associations between sleep deficiency and hypertension, coronary heart disease, heart attacks, and strokes. No, insufficient sleep appears to affect the body's ability to regulate your blood sugar, increasing metabolic conditions like diabetes. And research has found that people tend to consume more calories and carbohydrates when they don't get enough sleep. No? Which is just one of the several ways that poor sleep may be tied to obesity. And listen here, dun sa mga hirap na hirap magpapayat. Next slide. How does it go about, no, from sleep deprivation to getting fat? No, sleep deprivation compromises your ability to metabolize carbohydrates actually and control your food intake. What happens is when you sleep less, no, you eat more, you have more time, no. And when you're sleep deprived, you have fatigue. You feel weak, and what do you do? You crave for high fat, high caloric diet. So, and when you're sleep deprived, your hormones are off the roof. No, we have what we call the leptin hormone. No, the ghrelin hormone. The ghrelin hormone is the hunger hormone, and when you're sleep deprived, it's increased. So mas gutom ka because of this ghrelin hormone. And when you're sleep deprived, your leptin hormone naman, which is your satiety hormone, it makes you feel satisfied or it makes you feel full. It's reduced when you're sleep deprived. So your hormones get all wild and causes this increase in your appetite. So what you have here is a decreased energy intake and decreased energy expenditure. So tumataba ka talaga, no? People who sleep less than 6 hours, no, you have to remember this. People who sleep less than 6 hours a night are 30% more likely to become obese than those who sleep for 7 to 9 hours a night. So that's an interesting fact for you. For those people who don't want to gain weight, you have to sleep more. Next slide, please. Sleep deficiency has been shown to lead to worsened immune function, including a poorer response to vaccines. No, tip. Especially during the pandemic, binibigyan ko ng tip ang mga pasyente ko before they actually get their vaccines. No, they have to sleep a few weeks before para they get the most antibody production. No, so primarily, as I've said earlier, it boosts our immune system with good sleep. Hormonal abnormalities, no? It helps the body produce and regulate various hormones, potentially increasing your susceptibility to problems in people with sleep deprivation. Pain. Sleep-deprived people are at higher risk of developing pain or they feel that their pain is getting worse. So mas mababa yung threshold nila for pain, no? Akala mo nagko-complain lang, ma-complain lang, but actually their threshold is lower when they're sleep-deprived. Pagkatapos nun, when you don't control their pain, they may cause further sleep interruptions. So nagiging cycle siya. It creates a negative cycle of worsening pain and sleep, no? Mental health disorders. Sleep and mental health are really closely intertwined, and poor sleep has strong associations with conditions like depression, anxiety, and bipolar disorder. In fact, no, one of the basic things that you can help a person who is depressed or who have anxiety is to tell them to have a good sleep or mention some good sleep hygiene. No, mag-i-improve sila talaga. Okay. So these are just the summary of what happens when you're sleep deprived. So it's actually, when you look at it, it's really multisystemic, from impaired cognition, you're hyper aroused, you're always anxious, you have 4 times increase of your stroke risk, you have increased risk for diabetes, even depression, even breast cancer. No, so they did a study previously on nurses who were sleep deprived. Nakita nila na mas mataas ang risk for breast cancer. Why? Because they don't have enough melatonin, no? Because of the shift in their circadian rhythm, they don't have a shift in they don't have the normal melatonin, and a decrease in the melatonin actually disrupts your estrogen production. So it's really multisystemic. You have increased risk for heart disease, and as I've said earlier, your weight gain. Next slide, please. So why are we sleep deprived? Multiple factors, no, including poor sleep hygiene, which I will discuss later, lifestyle choices, work obligations, if you have sleep apnea, you have insomnia and other medical conditions. Sleep deprivation driven by voluntary choices, basically, that reduce available sleep. For example, during the pandemic, no, a person who decides to stay up late to binge watch Netflix series may experience acute sleep deprivation. That's his choice, no? An inconsistent sleep schedule may facilitate these decisions and make them feel less intentional in the moment. No? Work obligations, persons who are in the BPO industry, your shift workers, your nurses, your security guards, they're common contributors to sleep deprivation. No? They have multiple multiple jobs or extended hours. They may not have enough time for sufficient sleep. No. Next slide, please. So sleep disorders like obstructive sleep apnea and acute or chronic insomnia. Okay, next slide, please. Obstructive sleep apnea, which is very close to my heart. This is my favorite topic. No, this is actually a breathing disorder. You've seen a lot of the patients snore. No, actually they have obstructions during sleep. So what happens is when they sleep, no, the tongue collapses on the airway. Sometimes it causes partial collapse. And when we breathe, that causes vibration, that causes snoring, no? So in some patients, it's not partial collapse, but full collapse. So what happens is, no, the diaphragm sends signals to the brain because it's obstructed. The brain wakes up, and you have multiple. The brain wakes up para the airway can become patent again. So then you go to sleep, and the obstructions go on again. So it's a cycle of going to sleep, going to the lighter stage of sleep, waking up, going to sleep again, and waking up because of the obstruction. So this will have the patients with obstructive sleep apnea have poor sleep quality and have poor sleep duration because of the multiple awakenings. No? Insomnia, for patients who have short-term or chronic insomnia, very, very common, especially during the last 2 years. I'll share with you. Next slide, please. This journal taken from the psychiatric annals, no? It's really real, no? COVID-somnia, or what we dubbed as coronasomnia. No? This journal discusses the reasons for sleep disturbances. Most commonly, it's insomnia during the pandemic. Ako rin mismo nagkaroon ng insomnia because we lost our routine, no? Next slide, please. Among the stressors keeping us awake at night would be, economic stressors. A lot of people lost their jobs, no? Their loss of property, no? Food insecurity. We were socially isolated, no? We were confined. Some patients were confined. We were stressed about so many propagandas about vaccine hesitancies and the mask mandates. Ang gulo-gulo, diba? And then there's the health condition. Patients with comorbid anxiety or depression, mas lalong naging worse ang insomnia nila during the pandemic, no? And even the lack of preparedness, no? Nag-worry tayo because we were not prepared during this pandemic. So nagkakaroon talaga ng insomnia. Next slide, please. So many people don't get sufficient sleep because they think it's normal. No? They accept sleep deprivation as normal. No, rather than take the necessary steps to sleep more, what do? They drink caffeine, they drink energy drinks, they nap, or they just simply power through the day. No, of course, none of these is sustainable in the long run because they may help you go through the day, but the cumulative effects of sleep deficiency will take a toll both in the short and the long run. No? So for this reason, it's important to refuse, to refuse to accept the lack of sleep as normal. And we have to instead focus on sleeping more and getting higher quality rest. Chronic insufficient sleep often occurs when people choose to sacrifice sleep in favor of work, leisure, or other obligations. No? To counteract this, it's critical to take steps to make sleep definitely a priority. Next slide, please. So we always emphasize, as the sleep experts always emphasize, the importance of creating a positive association between your mind, between your bed and your sleep. Now, for this reason, I always tell my patients, the bed is only for sleep, and am I allowed this? Sex, no? So that's only two activities in bed, sleep and sex, no? So that this means working from home shouldn't be working from bed. It also means avoid bringing your laptop into bed to watch your Netflix or your K-dramas, no? On any given night, no? If you find that you're having a hard time sleeping, no? You toss and you turn for more than 30 minutes, no? That's useless, no? Don't spend more than 20 minutes tossing and turning. Instead, get out of bed, go to another room, and do something relaxing in a very low light, no? Wag naman yung bright light. Very low light, and then head back to bed when your eyes are already heavy. And then frequently change your sheets, no? Fluff your pillows, make your bed, fluff your pillows, and making your bed can keep your bed feeling fresh so that you're more comfortable and there's an inviting setting to doze off. Next slide, please. No, customize your bed environment. No, design your bed so that's ideal for relaxation. Hindi naman pwede masyadong mainit, it's too bright. No, you're less likely to avoid going to bed if your setting is inviting. Get a good mattress and pillow for your needs, and it should offer plenty of support. No, your bedding should help you feel cozy, no, while maintaining a moderate temperature. Some sleep specialists are very specific. Sinasabi nila 18, 22 degrees, no? As long as it's cool, okay na yon, no? And to minimize potential sleep disruptions, try to make your bedroom quiet and as dark as possible, no? No, avoid things that can interfere with sleep. I can never emphasize this enough, no? A useful step in addressing sleep deprivation is to avoid things that can negatively affect sleep. Napaka-importante nito. Cell phones, no, electronic devices. They're really designed to provide information, but when it's time to go to sleep naman, the last thing our brain needs is more information, no? You don't constantly check on your phone because it stimulates the brain so that we are more active and awake and engaged, no? Even if you just check your emails and then, no, you just quick check on your emails and your Facebook, it can engage the brain and delay sleep, no? Your mind can stay active long enough after you've responded to your work emails and scrolled through your Instagram feeds, no? Aside from that, the blue light, no? This is very important. The blue light in our smartphone suppresses the levels of your melatonin, no? Melatonin is our sleep hormone, no? It's a hormone responsible for controlling your sleep-wake cycle, no? When you expose yourself to blue light, it can affect your internal body clock and throw off your circadian rhythm, no? This rhythm is in tune to the light and dark. And it's why you feel more tired at night when the sun starts to set and you feel energized in the morning when there is light. Na, di nyo rin ba napapansin after, especially now, no, the past few months, when you scroll through your Facebook and your Twitter accounts, no, and you see something that makes you feel happy, it makes you feel sad, it makes you feel like disappointed. Ang dami kasing fake news, no? It can trigger a response that prolongs falling asleep and delays deep sleep. And these emotions can leave you staring at the ceiling for hours, feeling wide awake. So the Sleep Foundation actually recommends, no, what you can do is you stop using the electronic devices like your cell phone, your laptops, no, your TV, the tablets, at least 30 minutes before your bedtime. But I usually tell my patients, ditch the phone an hour before sleeping, no. Wag na kayo magtelepono, wag na kayo mag-Facebook. You can just, there are a lot of devices, no, a lot of apps that are helpful for you to get your sleep, no. It can reduce or filter your blue light, or you can choose your settings, no. May night mode settings yan in your phone, in your laptop, to minimize distractions and to reduce the light, no? And also turn off your notifications, no? Paano ka makakatulog kung beep ng beep yung cellphone mo or your laptop nagno-notify sa'yo na may email ka, no? If you're struggling with limiting your screen time, tanggalin mo na yung cellphone, no? Put it in another room and put it in another room. Now, how about naps, no? I love naps, no? But it may interfere with sleep at night, so you have to keep them short. Not 30 minutes, but I usually tell my patients 20 minutes is enough, and never take them in the late afternoon or later. And if you're really struggling with insomnia, it's best to avoid naps altogether. Next slide, please. Okay. Alcohol, drinking especially at night, this is probably a myth, no? Ang dami nyong nababasa that, or sometimes you think that, one to two glasses of wine will give you a good night's sleep, no? Well, it's not, no? That's a myth, no? So fact check lang tayo, it's not, no? It may your sleep may appear faster than usual, no? Mas mabilis ka matulog, but the quality of your sleep is very poor when you drink alcohol before bedtime. And that's because it suppresses your deep sleep, your rapid eye movement. Aside from this, it's a diuretic, no? So when you drink alcohol maybe 1 or 2 hours before bedtime, you'll feel the urge to urinate in between your deep sleep. Gigising ka nang gigising para lang umihi. So this is a good information about the effect of the sleep in our sleep quality, effect of alcohol in our sleep quality by the Sleep Health Foundation. Interestingly enough, even low amounts of alcohol decrease sleep quality by 9.3%. So one glass of wine for men and half a glass of wine for women, bumabagsak na yung sleep quality nila to 9.3%, no? And it increases further on, 24% to 39%, of course, as the higher amounts of alcohol are consumed. Next slide, please, no? Okay, caffeine. This is also some of the common things that they ask me. No, as a stimulant, it makes you feel alert, and because it can stick around in your system for several hours. No, half life of that coffee is about 6 hours. Anong ibig sabihin ng half life? So, pag 6 hours siya, 50% of the active substance ng coffee will still be there at 6 hours. No. So let's say if you drink your coffee at around 8 a.m., by 2 p.m., 50% na yan. Even at 8 p.m., 25% of the active substance in coffee will still be there. No? So if you have if you have a trouble sleeping, you should try limit the amount of caffeine that you have. No? Best to have no more than 200 milligrams a day. So in context lang, no, one instant, no, 3-in-1 coffee, it's about what? What is that? 65 to 100 milligrams. So, maybe hanggang mga 2 cups lang. Pero for brewed coffee, especially if you have a hard time sleeping, 1 cup will do. Kasi hanggang hapon na yan eh. So, many different ways on how many hours before bed, before you should have your last caffeine intake. I always tell my patients, no, after lunch, huwag na kayo magkape or defer from drinking any soda, no, eating chocolates because these have caffeine content. No? Now, many people will actually find it their sleep improves with just this change. No? But if you should also keep in mind for those patients or who are addicted to coffee, if you stop suddenly, you may have some withdrawal. So you may have headaches, tiredness, and anxiety. So in this case, you may have to gradually cut down, gradual lang ang pag-cut down nyo ng coffee. Next slide, please. Okay, short naps encourage and offer many benefits, but long naps in the afternoon and in the evening can have negative effects on your sleep quality. Instead, as I've said earlier, limit it to 15 to 20 to 30 minutes early in the afternoon. This will increase your chances of waking up feeling rejuvenated while still being able to fall asleep easily come bedtime. Best time to nap, 2 to 3 p.m. kasi ito, nagkakaroon tayo ng peak ng melatonin at this time. No? So this is the best time to doze off without really disrupting your sleep at night. Next slide, please. Light exposure, very helpful in people who suffer from difficulty in sleeping as a result of insomnia. Why? Because when we're exposed to light, it regulates our sleep-wake pattern. These are visual cues kasi, no? So for most people, I always tell them exposure to sunlight is most beneficial when it occurs within an hour of waking, no? So within an hour of waking, magpabilad na kayo. No? Best to spend between 30 to 45 minutes, no, getting direct sunlight. Next slide, please. Set boundaries. No, pinakamahirap, I think, especially in the pandemic. I've experienced this also. Set boundaries in your work and social life. It's easy for the demands of your personal or professional life to chip away at your dedicated time for sleep. So it's helpful to set boundaries. No? Nagkaroon din ako ng problema about this during the pandemic because I had hybrid of practice. I was doing my rounds in the morning and I converted my face-to-face clinic to online consultations. So the boundaries of work and home were so blurry at that time, no? Nagkakaroon din ako ng mga calls, no? Usually kasi before the pandemic, I always tell my residents and fellows, do not call me after 10 p.m., no? That's my boundary, 10 p.m. Unless it's life-threatening, no? When you have respiratory failure, they can call me. But other than that, for most benign conditions, bahala na sila, but don't call me after 10, just update me in the morning, no? But during the pandemic, I really had a hard time because of COVID, no? Residents and fellows were calling 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock because of patients who were crashing. So, even us healthcare workers, we've had problems with boundaries. So, right now it's better because we're slowly easing up on the restrictions, no? Medyo nawawala na yung work from home, nagkakaroon na ako ng face-to-face. So, yung routine ko bumabalik na ulit. Next slide, please. These are just, some to summarize everything, these are the things that can disrupt your sleep, no? Hot room, heavy meal before sleeping, caffeine, alcohol, no? Social media, electronic devices, and noises. But I just want to emphasize that, the next slide, please. I just hope that before my talk ends, you have this little bit of information to take home with you para mamayang gabi may baon na kayo, no? Rules of healthy sleep, no? Of course, environment plays a big factor. Sleep in a dark, silent environment. Do not eat heavy dinner before sleeping, no? Light lang tayo, no? No alcohol. I forgot to mention even nicotine can be a factor if you have insomnia, because nicotine is a stimulant, no? So avoid smoking before going to bed. But I'm a pulmonologist, so avoid smoking altogether. Mas maganda ata yun, no? So give up on the caffeine, no? Make sure that the bed is comfortable. Temperature is about 18 to 22 degrees. Get a regular sleep-wake pattern. Do not just sleep whenever you want to. It has to be consistent, no? Do not put your devices with you in bed. Do not watch TV. Do not work in bed, no? And of course, do not focus on insomnia, no? Some patients actually have performance anxiety, no? What they do is, pag natutulog na sila, nagkakaroon sila ng anxiety. They always look at the alarm clock. They look at the phone, no? Nagbibilang how many hours na lang na natitira before they're going to be up and working again, no? So this is counterproductive. It gives you performance anxiety. So ditch the phone, remove the alarm clocks, remove any kind of parang reminders na kung ilang oras na yung natitira for you to get to sleep, no? It's really counterproductive. Go to another room, do something relaxing, meditate, no? Listen to soft music, and then when your eyes are heavy, saka lang kayo babalik. And of course, routines are very important, no? Whether turning off the lights, no, fluffing the sheets, no, make sure the bed is cozy. These are kind of our cues para masabi natin sa brain that it's downtime already. And that, I think, next slide is my last slide, and hope you got something out of it. And belated happy World Sleep Day to everyone. And the floor is open for any questions, and I hope I've covered enough.
Entertain the questions that I already see a number of questions here. I'll just like to repeat my question for our raffle. Okay, our raffle question is, when was World Sleep Day? Okay, type your answer in the comment sections with the hashtag BM Coffee Club, hashtag the gift of sleep, and hashtag sleepasil. Okay, that's hashtag BM Coffee Club, hashtag the gift of sleep, and hashtag sleepasil. Okay, so we will be giving away one Nightol package, one Sleepasil package, 2 Casio watches, and 1 overnight stay at Winford Manila Hotel and Resort and Casino. Okay, that's overnight stay at Winford Manila Resort and Casino. Okay, so we'll draw that later before the end of the show. I'll just look for. I already saw a number of questions, Doctor. I'll just look for them, huh? But while I'm looking, can you tell us what is more important, the amount of sleep that you get or the quality of your sleep? Because sometimes I used to wear this watch that monitors my sleep every day. There are times that even if I get around 6 hours or 6 hours of sleep, mababa yung quality of sleep ko. Pero sometimes, when I sleep 4 hours, mas mataas yung quality of sleep ko. So, ano pa po talaga?
Actually, both, no? As I've said earlier, kahit na ipolong mo yung sleep mo, if you're not getting the right kind of deep sleep, you'll end up feeling not refreshed when you wake up. No?
Okay.
Haba nga, no? 7 to 8 hours of sleep, but there are a lot of interruptions in between, then your sleep is not consolidated. So I would think it's still both the quality and the quantity is very important. Quality of sleep, you have to have the appropriate amount of night sleep, the appropriate amount of deep sleep. And you can only do this when you have the proper duration of sleep. Kasi kung short naman ng sleep mo,
Mm-mm.
yung stages of sleep mo naman affected also. So I think both po ang kailangan.
Okay, Doctor. Tapos, I saw a question here. Will we be able to make up for lost sleep through micro-sleeping? Yun.
Um, Many patients would oversleep during the weekend also, 'di ba? It's actually not good because you really have to it has to be a regular sleep wake pattern, no? Hindi mo mafe-feel to when during the weekends na nag-oversleep ka. Oversleep ka 9 hours, 10 hours just for you to get back that lost sleep that you've had during the weekend. Pero mafe-feel mo siya come Monday because nata-throw off na naman yung pattern mo because naiba nung weekend. So dapat it has to be a consistent sleep schedule.
About that.
So
Okay.
it has to be a consistent sleep schedule. So let's say you have to wake up early the next day, no? So maiksi ang tulog mo. Make sure that the next evening, isi-schedule mo yung alarm clock mo dun sa old waking time mo so that you can go back to your regular sleep pattern.
Okay. Yeah, here's one from. Can you tell us more about coronasomnia? You were telling me kanina, Doctora, that you had a lot of consultations during the pandemic regarding sleep. Is that
Oh
correct?
yeah, actually it's madaming factors, no? Most of the patients, primarily, especially pag acute lang, when we say acute, nag-appear lang during the COVID,
Si
no?
Doctora naman na nawala.
So most of them, actually poor sleep hygiene, no? What do they do? Nawala yung rituals nila. So yung ritual nila, the regular eating at this time of hour, like regular sleeping at this time of hour, nawala. So yung exposure nila to social media at night, no? Madami ilang beses na I'm sure, no, you have kids and I myself minsan puyat ako scrolling through my Facebook and my Instagram just getting the facts straight, no, from because we were so unprepared with this coronasomnia. No? We had to read a lot. There a lot of information coming in, a lot of facts coming in. So nakaka-stress. So that's a factor too, no? Health stressors, economic stressors, no? We were unprepared, no? Ang napaka-restricted din ng lockdown, no? We were socially isolated from everybody. So these are the factors that contributed to insomnia. Apart from that, no, patients who have underlying insomnia prior to the pandemic, they've had issues with anxiety, they've had issues with depression, mas lalong nagiging worse ang ano nila, ang depression nila because of the loss of sleep, because of these factors, no? Ang dami actually information overload during the pandemic eh. Saka nakakatakot din, nakaka-stress. People were losing jobs, no? Napaka-unstable ng economy. Hindi tayo makatrabaho. We were always on our laptops, no? A lot of people were working from home hanggang gabi. So, the routine, it was thrown off. Nagiging irregular yung routine natin, no? So, kasi yung routine nakaka-help eh. These are our cues, no? Yung routine, just going to shower in the morning, having your breakfast, going to work, that helps us with the regular sleep wake pattern, no? Going to bed early and then, preparing yourself to bed, no? Putting on your pajamas, that's routine. Nawala yon during the pandemic, no? Madalas nagigising tayo late, hapon na nakapajama pa rin tayo. I've seen that, no? Hapon na nakapajama pa rin and they're still working. So nawala yung routine. So that contributes a lot to the insomnia.
Okay. Another question I saw here was how about a lot of people also work at night. So if they sleep in the during daytime, will that yan? Sa mga night shift po, okay lang sa araw matulog as long as they get 7 to 9 hours quality sleep?
Yes, ito problema yan, no? With the rise in BPO, no? Mga shift workers. We call it the circadian rhythm abnormality. Kasi bumaliktad yung rhythm nila eh. They work when we're supposed to be sleeping and they sleep when we're supposed to be working. So, nagkakaroon ng disconnect sa environmental cues at saka sa rhythm natin. So what we do, what we tell them, no, after their night shift, they have to mimic the time that they're supposed to go to bed, no? So after their night shift, paglabas nila na sa building, pinapasuotan na namin sila ng glasses. So parang gabi siya, para madilim, no? Pagdating nila sa bahay, it's ideal to have their rooms very dark, no? Kung may blackout curtain sila, better. No? And then after their usual lunch or brunch, they can sleep for about 7 to 9 hours. It's still okay, no? Para matulog sila ng 7 to 9 hours. That's the ideal duration. But they have to they have to have like little things tweaked para mabalik yung sleep-wake pattern nila. Ma-mimic yung original sleep-wake pattern nila. So sometimes we give them a boost, no? For circadian rhythm, melatonin works. No? And then siguro coffee before going to work, and then bright light during when they're working, no? Ideally, mini-measure namin yung brightness of light in terms of lux, no? So meron silang light requirement at work para effective sila and awake and concentrated. Kasi that's the problem, they have a circadian rhythm abnormality.
Okay. So here's another question from Alwat Jacinto Jr. Why are there instances that even if you have slept for 8 hours, but when you wake up in the morning, you feel tired instead of having a good feeling? What caused this feeling?
Again, no, it's the quality of sleep that I've said earlier, no. Let's say, I'm just gonna give an example. If you have obstructive sleep apnea, no, patient tells you that you have 9 hours of sleep. Pero gising naman siya ng gising, hindi nila nafe-feel to, no? Pero we usually see them in the lab, no? They have arousals during sleep and they're not conscious of it, no? They have arousals during sleep because they have obstructions during sleep. Ang airway kasi natin bilog, no? When we sleep, there's partial collapse when the tongue collapses on the airways, and when we breathe, that causes vibrations, that causes snoring, no? So in some patients, it's not partial collapse but full collapse. So hindi nakakapasok yung oxygen. So what happens to that, no? When there's full obstruction, the diaphragm senses this and signals to the brain to wake up. So you have multiple awakenings during the night. Matutulog na naman and then mag-obstruct na naman, magigising. So it's not consolidated, no? So you don't go through the normal your sleep pattern gets worse, your sleep architecture, hindi siya normal, no? Instead of the usual wake, light stage, deep stages of sleep, what happens is when you have frequent awakenings, wake, light stage, wake, light stage. So, yung restorative part ng sleep, which is the deep sleep, hindi nila na-attain. So, kahit na mahaba yung sleep nila, yung quality, because they're not reaching the deep stages of sleep, they wake up feeling unrefreshed, no? They feel sleepy, they lose concentration, they're cranky, they have mood changes. So, hindi lang sa obstructive sleep apnea. Actually, you have insomnia, no? If you have underlying medical problems, no? Let's say you have chronic pain syndromes, that will cause insufficient sleep or sleep too. You have a lot of awakenings kasi ang sakit-sakit, ang dami mong nararamdaman. When you have heart failure, gising ka ng gising, hindi ka makahinga during sleep. So, these are all of the things that must be evaluated, lalo na if it's prolonged. No, if you think that you're not getting adequate sleep for, I think, more than 3 months, 3 to 4 months, then you better have your sleep evaluated by a sleep physician, because it's not only, sleep hygiene. No, there are a lot of other causes that will cause poor quality of sleep. If getting a good sleep is a struggle, would you recommend taking melatonin? It depends, no? I usually first evaluate the patient kung pangit yung sleep hygiene niya. Maybe tweak, I'd like to be more conservative first. Then kung meron akong nakitang kailangan i-correct, kailangan natin i-correct, no? Melatonin is good for circadian rhythm abnormalities, for shift workers, no? It's good, no? But not in some patients, no? Na may underlying insomnia, mga chronic insomnia. Not for patients na may underlying breathing disorder, no? In some patients it will help, no? It's important lang that they have to be evaluated first kung ano talaga yung sleeping problem nila. Maybe it's just insufficient sleep, or maybe it's just poor sleep hygiene, or maybe you're dealing with a circadian rhythm abnormality or a breathing disorder. It depends on the cost of the sleep.
Yan, ito. Here's another question, Doktora. Ay, nasa na yung... Here. In REM sleep ba nag-o-occur ang nightmare or sleep terrors?
Yes, usually, no? There's dream enactment, no? Kung ano yung napapaginipan mo, yun yung, let's say, tumatakbo ka, ganun din yung, there's movement during the rapid eye, no? So, there's dream enactment and sleep terrors. No? It depends on, you can have nightmares and you can have night terrors. It depends on the stage of sleep, whether you're in the deep sleep or the light stages of sleep, no? Night terrors are usually common kids, no? They wake up umiiyak, no, nagwawala, no? Nightmares sa mga matatanda. No? Well, they can occur if you have poor sleep hygiene or you're sleep deprived. So, minsan nagkakaroon yan kasi nagkakaroon ng overlap between your light sleep and your deep sleep. Eh. So, that's the important thing that you need to improve first your sleep hygiene, no? Sometimes your nightmares are, you have underlying neurological problems, so that must be evaluated first by a sleep study. Kasi nakikita namin yan during a sleep test. Okay, hypnotism, an effective sleep inducer. I don't have any experience with hypnotism, no? So maybe in some ways, no, patients who have chronic insomnia who are referred to the insomnia center, they undergo the cognitive behavioral therapy. There are things that you practice before going to sleep, and one of them is relaxation. They teach you how to relax, and they teach you visual imagery. So probably that's some sort of hypnotism. I don't know, no, but I don't have any experience if it's a good sleep inducer. But definitely mindfulness or cognitive behavioral therapy is part of the treatment if you have prolonged insomnia.
O yan, ito. Doc, how about sleepwalking? My brother, I remember, was able to cross the street and buy pandesal. And then he told us na pananggipan. No, well, he dreamt about it. Ano yan? Sleepwalking.
Okay, sleepwalking. It's a benign condition. Basically, all you have to do is keep your relatives safe during the time na nagsisleepwalk. It occurs, no? Meron din kaming mga nakikitang ganyan. But sometimes, no, there are underlying neurological conditions that mimic your sleepwalking. So he has to be evaluated too. Pero most of the time, it's benign, no? It's also caused by sleep deprivation. First and foremost, improve the sleep para hindi siya nagsisleepwalk. So, what are the best positions for sleeping? Better if it's a lateral position, especially if you're suffering from sleep apnea, no? Kasi pag nakahiga tayo ng nakatagilid or a bit the head of bed is a bit elevated, no? Yung airway natin nagiging clear. No? Pagka flat on bed tayo on our backs, that's where the obstructions are occurring if you have sleep apnea. So it's better if you sleep on your side or medyo mataas, may pillows. 2 or 3 pillows would be ideal.
Be done to avoid sleep paralysis.
Sleep paralysis, again, sleep hygiene. Some of the sleep paralysis is secondary to poor sleep hygiene, sleep deprivation. Nagkakaroon ng yung boundaries between light sleep and deep sleep. Nagkakaroon siya ng hindi nagkakaroon ng good boundaries between your light sleep and your deep sleep. So sleep paralysis, make sure that the patient is having good sleep hygiene initially, and then maybe evaluate for an underlying sleep disorder. Could be another underlying sleep disorder. Have your sleep evaluated by a sleep physician and maybe undergo a sleep test. No? Sleep test, makikita natin to. No? You have electrodes. No? These are all non-invasive electrodes to measure your brain waves. You have airflow. You have a snoring sensor, respiratory belt, abdominal belts, and your belts in your electrodes in your muscles, so we can see if you're having this movement disorders. No? So if you have sleep paralysis, first and foremost, make sure that the sleep is of good quality. Second, get a sleep evaluation. You may have an underlying movement disorder or some sort of some sort.
Okay, dami mong questions, Tora. Here's another one. How about teeth grinding while sleeping?
Teeth grinding, sometimes we refer them to dental medicine kasi meron silang problema with their upper airways, no?
Mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm.
it's gonna be a problem kasi with your teeth grinding, you wake up with headaches, no? You have migraines and headaches, no? Masakit ang panga, no? We also see that in during the sleep study, but sometimes it's really audible, naririnig naman. Kahit hindi nag-sleep study, maririnig nyo at saka makikita nyo. No? They usually, I refer them to the orthodontics,
Mm-hmm.
so that they will have to use an oral appliance, no? Parang retainer, so that they won't grind. No? So kasi magkakaroon kayo ng problema with the wear and tear of the teeth. No? So they usually wear an oral appliance that is customized by the dentist that they wear during sleep. So that causes also a lot of awakenings, the book
Uh-uh.
system. No? So that should be evaluated likewise.
Okay. From Malu, they say melatonin is effective treatment for mild COVID.
Oh my
Any
God,
study?
no? There are a lot of patients who were overdosing on melatonin during the COVID, no? Some taking 6 tablets, 7 tablets, so crazy, no? It
Oh.
has not been proven, no? It's an immunomodulator, definitely. No? It has some effects on the immune system, but it's not an effective
Mm-hmm.
treatment, and this is evidence based already. It's not an effective treatment for mild COVID. Some patients, some physicians would give them as a sort of supplement just kasi
Mm-hmm.
nagkakaroon din sila ng sleeping problems during the pandemic. But fake news yan, ha? It's not an effective treatment for mild COVID.
Okay. So I think we'll just entertain three more questions, no? Kasi baka may clinic na si Doktora later. So here's one from Rory Visco. I snore a lot, most likely due to an underlying medical conditions. Can sleep testing centers and hospitals help eliminate it, or treatment of medical conditions eliminate it?
Okay, I'm so glad you asked that, no?
Mhm.
Aside from the things that I've mentioned, no, there are things that you monitor for you to get the thing that are red flags for you to get a sleep evaluation. Number one, if despite um, despite the opportunity to sleep, you have difficulty sleeping, maintaining sleep, or you have early awakenings, you have to get you have to get yourself evaluated. If your sleep complaints um, are are so long already, more than 2 to 3 months, 3 months more, you have to get a sleep evaluation. If it interferes with daytime functioning, no, you often see yourself sleeping during meetings, so hindi ka na effective, you have to get yourself evaluated. If you're snoring, ang lakas-lakas, you're obese, no, and then you wake up feeling unrefreshed, you have to get yourself evaluated. Pinaka-importante, there are some underlying medical conditions that should be evaluated if they have a sleeping or a breathing disorder. Why? Because it can drastically it can drastically put the present medical condition, nagiging poor prognosis siya if you have concomitant sleep problems. No? One of these is if you have cardiac problems, you have to get evaluated. You have respiratory disorders, no? You have COPD, no? You have to get yourself evaluated. If you're morbidly obese, you have to get yourself evaluated. Because if you have an underlying breathing disorder and you have coronary problems, if you have breathing problems, this can markedly affect the prognosis of your primary disorder. So it's not good, no? Imagine meron kang coronary problem and you have obstructive sleep apnea and you have your oxygen goes down when you sleep, no? It's not really good for the heart and it's not good for the brain, no? The heart pumps twice as hard to get that oxygen up. So instead of relaxing during when we're sleeping, no, the heart is pumping twice as hard, no, to improve your oxygen levels up to an acceptable level. So it's not really good, no. So those are the things that are red flags, no. If you're really snoring, you have witness apneas. When I say witness apneas, nakakita yung katabi mo, hindi ka humihinga, you're choking, you're gasping, you need to get evaluated. Of course, primary snoring naman is basically a benign condition that not all snorers have obstructive sleep apnea, but it is a primary symptom. It's a symptom that needs to be evaluated definitely, especially if you have the underlying medical disorders. Studies on effect of night duty shifts for women affecting their reproductive health. Should there be a policy to discourage employers to put women in night shift duties? Actually, wala pa. I think that's in the pipeline with our society right now, is to put in some policy changes, no? Not only with shift workers, no? In the States nga, even meron silang policies sa mga teenagers also. Because in teenagers, they also have iba din yung sleep-wake pattern nila. They go to sleep later than the usual because of physiologic changes during their teenager years. So when they wake up, it's insufficient. So ang nangyari sa US, they made a policy to make the school times later than usual for teenagers because of these physiologic changes. And I would think, no, siguro mas maganda rin magkaroon tayo ng policy with regards to women in the night shift, no? Protocols should be set kung anong pwede nilang gawin for improving their sleep, no? How many hours of shifting lang ang kailangan, no? Ilang hindi yung papalit-palit, no? Hindi maganda masyado yung papalit-palit na shifting. So I think these are one of the projects of the Philippine Society of Sleep Medicine, is to get that policy in front, no, for our shift care workers and our nurses and our mga security guards, no, kasi it's really not good for them to be going to work sleep deprived. So I would think, no, I agree. Siguro I will take this up with the society. Night duty shifts for women affecting their reproductive health, no? Wala pa masyado. It's basically the study that I mentioned a while back, no? That what they did with the nurses, no? They studied their sleep habits, and what they actually shown is the risk for a lot of them has increased risk for breast carcinoma because of the melatonin and the effect on the estrogen. So I think yun yung pinaka medyo robust on data. But with the other aspects of reproductive health, wala pa masyado.
Okay, one last question, Ed. Were you able to find one last question? Sa dami ng lumalabas na po.
O ibig sabihin, interesado sila. I told you.
Yes. Meron pa isa. I saw it kanina eh. Actually, it's a very interesting topic.
I hope I have some of the guys, no? With regards to good food hygiene, it's very important.
Okay, this one. This is the last question. What is dysomnia and how is it different from insomnia?
Insomnia is just really changes in the pattern of sleeping, no? Insomnia kasi is you don't have any you have a trouble going to sleep, maintaining
Mm.
sleep, and then waking up early, even if you have the opportunities for it, no? So it's
Mhm.
different when you have insufficient sleep then, no? Kasi that in itself, no? Wala kang opportunity to get that quality sleep that you need. Eh. For insomnia, even if you sleep, no, even if you go to bed 7 hours of sleep, they don't have the quality of sleep. Either they have multiple awakenings during the night, or they have early awakenings then. No? So
Okay.
ang quality of sleep is very poor,
Uh-huh.
and they have trouble. They have difficulty in going to sleep. Medyo matagal yung latency nila to go to sleep. No? Sometimes 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, di pa rin sila nakakatulog. So that's insomnia.
Okay, so with that, Doctora, I'd like to thank you for spending more than an hour with us this morning. Can you give us your parting message? Any tips you'd like to share in order to get
And
a
I
better
just
sleep?
would like to, now that we're getting our routines back, hopefully, magkakaroon din tayo ng good sleep for the next week, couple of weeks, couple of months, no, that we're easing back to work. No? It's important to maintain good sleep hygiene, especially for patients who have underlying medical disorders. No? Sometimes it's just a review of your sleep hygiene. No, that's the first thing that you have to make sure of before heading out and getting a sleep evaluation. Make sure naman that your habits are in line. No? Make sure that your habits are in tune with your rhythm too. So I hope that I imparted some tips on good sleep hygiene, and that's it, no? And belated Happy World Sleep Day.
Okay, thank you so much, Doctora Fuentes. Just wanted to everyone to know that Doctora Fuentes is also featured in today's issue of Business Mirror. Grab a copy of today's issue or check out the story on Business Mirror's website, www.businessmirror.com.ph. And don't forget to like and follow the Facebook page of Business Mirror and get the chance to win a valuable prize every week. That's right, every week. Watch out every Monday as we post the trivia quiz. All you have to do is answer the question by looking for the answer through the websites of Business Mirror, Philippines Graphic, and Cook Magazine. The winner of the quiz is announced every Monday as well. So check that out and keep yourself updated with what is happening here and abroad. Okay, so we now move on to the raffle. Are we ready now, Ed? Um, so we'll be raffling off one nightol, one sleeper sail, two Casio watches, and one overnight stay at the Winford Manila Resorts and Casino. So Bali, we have one, two, three, four, five winners. Okay, the answer to the question, when was sleep World Sleep Day observed? It was last March 18. So we'll just get March 18 is the answer. So our first winner will receive a Sleepasil pack. Sleepasil. And the winner is, siya na ba? No, may ano yan eh. May fanfare pa yan eh. Ayan, si winner is Queenie Somoza Ostulano. Congratulations, Queenie. And then our second winner will receive Nitol package. And our winner is Jenny Rose La Chica Gonzaga. Congratulations, Jenny Rose La Chica Gonzaga. Our next winner will receive a Casio watch. And our winner is, sino kaya? Oh, si Chinese character. Na ayaw sabihin kung anong talagang pangalan niya. Congratulations, Chinese character. You win a Casio watch. Okay, now our fourth winner will receive a Casio watch as well. And our winner is mukhang na-stuck din yun. Yan. Oh, siya na ba? Evelyn De Jesus Escobar, she wins and a Casio watch. Congratulations, Evelyn De Jesus Escobar. And here is our big prize for today, an overnight stay at Winford Manila Resorts and Casino. And the lucky winner is... At sino yung lucky winner? And the winner is, Mina Luz Satore. Congratulations, Miss Mina Luz Satore. Please wait for us to get in touch with you so that you can claim your prizes. Is that all? Okay, so once again, thank you so much for spending an hour again with us today. We'll see you all again soon. Thank you, Doctora.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.